Good morning, it's Lisa, and this morning I woke up and my pointer finger was itchy right there in the palm of the hand. And this is the particular finger that has been suffering from all of this digital communication because I predominantly use the pointer finger on my cell phone rather than some of you who hold your phone like this and you use your thumbs to type. I predominantly use my pointer finger to type a single digit, and as a result, it's created a kind of a numbing sensation. And when I scratch like this, it literally, I feel it all the way up the forearm. It tingles all the way to the elbow, and then sometimes it tingles all the way up to the shoulder. So that whole movement of just using that one appendage, it's been something that I've had to make changes with this summer. I think I've mentioned it in another video, in my first video actually, when I started this vlog. But it also changed what I was doing during the pandemic about working at home and using my devices, predominantly that smartphone that I'm doing this video on, to do a video. And I, in the process of healing, sometimes I do a fast, and I'm in the midst of a Daniel fast, which is it's strictly vegan. No meats, no sweets, no sugars, no coffee, tea, milk. And so I'm using water, even juices. I do sweeten my oatmeal in the morning, which is plain oatmeal. I sweeten it with a little bit of straight pomegranate juice. So that's the juice, the only juice that I use, just so that I can put my oatmeal down, that it doesn't taste too plain. And I put in some cinnamon, and I'll put in some nuts or raisins, depending on what's available. But this morning, when this was itching, I realized it's probably healing, right? But I also realized in the midst of the fast, when you put away the pointing of the finger, which is in, I believe it's in Isaiah 58. So I'm just going to read this little passage to you. This is going, and I'll try to bring this video to a close because I want to keep it under 4 or 5 minutes. Cry loudly, do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet. And I'm in Isaiah 58:1. And declare to my people their transgression, and to the house of Jacob their sins. Well, I don't go around yelling, in the square or on video or in any community. Definitely not in the churches, because they're shut down, right? Yet they seek me day by day and delight to know my ways, as a nation that has done righteousness and has not forsaken the ordinance of God. Basically, they've been hypocrites. So fasting is a point to reflect, as you who have practiced fasting know. Those of you who haven't, of course, may or may not know. They ask me for just decisions. They delight in the nearness of God. When we need God, we're crying out, right? Why have we fasted and you did not see? Why have we humbled ourselves and you did not notice? Behold, in the day of your fast, God says, you find your desire and drive hard all your workers. Behold, you fast for contention and strife, and to strike with a wicked fist. You do not fast like you do today to make your voice heard on high. It is a fast like this which I choose. So here is where God's saying, if you want to really fast and you want to get results, this is what I choose. This is the true and pure fast, says God. And this is in verse 5. A day for a man to humble himself. Is it for bowing one's head like a reed and for spreading out sackcloth and ashes as a bed? Will you call this a fast, says the Lord, even an acceptable day to the Lord? Is this not the fast which I choose? And this is where he gets into what he really wants: to loosen the bonds of wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. Is it not to divide your bread with the hungry, and bring the homeless poor into the house? And when you see the naked, to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Then your light will break out like the dawn, and then your recovery will speedily uh, will speedily spring forth, and your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you remove the yoke from your midst, and the pointing of the finger, and speaking wickedness, and if you give yourself to the hungry, and to satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then your light will rise in darkness, and your gloom will become like midday. And the Lord will continually guide you and satisfy your desire in scorched places, and give strength to your bones. And you will be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Those from among you will rebuild the ancient ruins, and you will raise up the age-old foundations, and you will be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of the streets in which to dwell. So I had studied a book about 31 years ago, my first year out of college. I was living with a friend's parents in their extra room when I first moved to Dallas, because that was kind of how I kind of transitioned out of the college womb into Dallas, Fort Worth, the Bible Belt. And I was in an extra bedroom of a friend of mine's parents' home. And there was a book in there called God's Chosen Fast. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about fasting. I was young. I had grown up Baptist, but fasting wasn't a habit of my family. And so I read this book, and this was the passage that it was based on. And I remember that passage this morning when my finger started itching, about the pointing of the finger and speaking wickedness. And I use this finger all the time on this device, the smartphone, to pretty much communicate any text, any email, any social media message through this methodology. And yesterday, this finger got pinched. So both fingers are injured. So I guess God's talking, right? He's just reminding me that when I have a criticism, and when I have a content, or I'm discontent about a situation, doesn't matter, especially the smartphone, I constantly need to just give it to him and let him work it out. Because there are different levels of understanding I don't have when it comes to making sure my signal zone that I'm standing in is properly, offering me the best functionality of the device. And then, of course, there's just different things that I need to work on when I'm on my smartphone. I can't speak for you and what God will talk to you when you're fasting, and when you read that passage. He's going to point out something that's important to you, and he's going to focus in on you and talk personally with you. So if you are doing a fast, I hope you will encourage your heart by just being open to what he has to say when you read that passage and what he says to you. But I know what he's talking to me, because he's still in the healing process of this right here. And of course, yesterday I pinched this one, and thankfully it's not black and blue. I put ice on it for a good portion of the evening, but it is red, and it did break the skin, but thank God there are not wildfires in the area where I live, and thank God I'm not on the coastline, and I do say prayers for those folks who are suffering. I've got my own sufferings, which each one of us has a different level of suffering in our own lives. Might God be with you if you do fast, and if you are enjoying the Daniel fast along with me, even though I haven't posted every day. May God be with you and encourage your heart. Bye-bye. And American Patriots Pray, as well as 90-day fast with salads. The holiday challenge is coming up October 1st. So I hope you'll mark your calendar for a 90-day salad challenge. It's not a true fast. It's just eating salads with your meals or replacing a meal every day with a salad. Thanks for joining me. I'm Lisa Smith. Have a great Wednesday, September 16th, 2020.